To whoever this may impact, sometimes our lives have to be completely shaken up, changed, and rearranged to relocate us where we're really meant to be. Sometimes change feels like loss, transformation is scary, and sometimes to discover the best versions of ourselves, we must let go of absolutely everything that's holding us down. Welcome to I Missed Me, your new safe space. I'm excited to form a part of your healing journey. Sometimes growth means leaving people behind. That doesn't just mean relationships that end in betrayal or conflict, but rather people who simply no longer fit into the version of yourself that you're becoming. It can be painful, but it's often necessary. At some point, we all reach a stage in our life where we realize that our circle of friends, or the people we surround ourselves with, no longer align with who we are or who we really want to become. Maybe you've had friendships that once felt effortless, but as time passes, you notice a gap between your values, your goals, or even your energy levels. This doesn't mean that these people are bad for you, or that you've outgrown them in a condescending way. It's more about how your individual growth journeys can diverge. Imagine a plant growing in a garden. At one point, it needed the same amount of water and sunlight as the other plants around it, but eventually, it starts reaching for something different. It might still appreciate the sunlight, but it has different needs now. It needs more space, different care, and perhaps even a different environment. The same thing happens with our relationships. We might still care about these people, but as we evolve, our paths may naturally start to drift apart, and that's okay. Leaving people behind, especially people once shared our lives with, is hard. The emotional pain of this is real. You might feel guilt, anxiety, and even fear about what life will be like without those people. You might question, am I being selfish? Am I abandoning them? Growth often requires discomfort. And this discomfort is part of the process. We hold on to relationships for various reasons: nostalgia, familiarity, a sense of duty, but growth asks us to prioritize our own journey. It's natural to feel conflicted, but think about it this way. When you evolve, you create space for new people, new experiences, and even new versions of the people that you already know. Sometimes, people are meant to stay for a season, and not for an entire journey. Growing isn't just about what you're leaving behind. It's about what you're moving forward. We often talk about the people we leave behind as though we're losing something, but in reality, we're creating room for new relationships, new opportunities, and perspectives. When you let go of a friendship that's no longer serving you, you make space for people who understand and support the version of yourself that you're becoming. This might not happen overnight. Sometimes, it's a slow, gradual process, but by making conscious choices about the people that you let into your life, you invite those who resonate with your growth and who will encourage you to reach higher. It's not just about shedding old skins. It's about surrounding yourself with those who will inspire you to continue to evolve. Navigating those awkward conversations is one of the hardest and scariest parts. If you've decided that a relationship no longer serves you, it's time to face the reality of potentially confronting the person involved. Maybe it's a friend who doesn't understand your new priorities, or a partner who can't support your changes. These conversations can feel incredibly awkward or even heartbreaking. But remember, these conversations don't have to be about blame or anger. They can be about honesty, mutual respect, and understanding. You can acknowledge the good times you've shared, express your gratitude, and be clear about the changes that you're experiencing. You don't have to justify your growth, but you can gently communicate the distance that has grown between you and them. Sometimes, the most respectful thing that you can do is to allow both of you the space to grow in your own directions. When we allow ourselves to grow, when we embrace the discomfort of letting go, something beautiful happens. We create space for freedom, the freedom to be our truest selves without the weight of expectation, without the weight of limitations of old patterns or people who no longer align with who we are. Freedom means the ability to take risks, explore new possibilities, and redefine what happiness looks like to you. Sometimes, that freedom can only come when we give ourselves permission to outgrow relationships that have run their course. Start by setting boundaries, not as a way to shut people out, but as a way to make sure that the people in your life are contributing to your growth. Surround yourself with those who challenge you in healthy ways, who push you to think bigger, dream bolder, and take actions that lead you to the life that you truly want. At the end of the day, growth is a journey that's unique to each of us. It requires making tough decisions, and sometimes that means letting go of people who were once close to you. But it also means opening ourselves up to new experiences, new relationships, and new opportunities that will help us become the best versions of ourselves. If you're finding it hard to let go, remember, growth doesn't always have to be dramatic. Final break. Sometimes it's simply a gentle distancing, and in the process, you may find that the people you leave behind are also able to grow in their own way and in their own time. You're not abandoning them. You're both on different journeys, and sometimes that's how it's meant to be. Growing as a person, pursuing your goals, and stepping into the phases of your life often means leaving people behind that you care about. It doesn't mean that you stop loving them or that they are inherently bad people, but it does mean that your paths are no longer aligned. And that can create some really difficult emotional moments. It's perfectly normal to outgrow people. In fact, it is a sign of your own growth. As we age, evolve, and experience life, our perspective shifts and our goals change. The things that once felt so important, whether it's staying in a particular social circle or participating in old habits, start to lose their meaning. This doesn't mean that the people who were once part of your life and your journey have suddenly become bad or irrelevant, but it is more about how we change as individuals. At first, this can be jarring. It feels like you're losing something, and that's okay to feel. The truth is, we all go through phases where certain people serve a specific purpose in our lives, whether it's a time of comfort, companionship, or shared interests. But eventually, those purposes evolve, and so do we. One of the hardest parts about growth is the pain that comes with it. Letting go of relationships, even ones that were extremely close, can be emotionally draining. And often, it is not as simple as just walking away. It might involve complicated feelings of guilt, sadness, and even fear of being alone. When we outgrow people, there's often a feeling of leaving them behind, like we're abandoning them. We wonder if they'll be okay without us, or if they'll resent us for changing. And there's a part of us that might feel like we're not allowed to grow, to change, if it means losing those relationships. Growth doesn't happen in a vacuum. To grow, you often need space, mental energy, and emotional bandwidth that certain relationships might drain. Holding on to relationships out of guilt can keep you from stepping into the next version of yourself. It can keep you stuck in old patterns and ways of thinking that no longer serve you. It's important to acknowledge the pain of this process. It's not easy, but as difficult as it may be, this is where we find the courage to honor our own evolution. And in the end, letting go is often a form of self-respect. Embracing the idea that growth sometimes means leaving people behind opens up a whole new world of possibility. While it's natural to grieve the relationships you've outgrown, there's a beauty in accepting that not everyone is meant to be with you through every chapter of your life. Once you've cleared out the space that certain relationships occupied, you allow new, more aligned people to enter your life. These are the people who will meet you where you are now, not where you were a few years ago. These are the individuals who will challenge you to grow further, push you beyond your comfort zones, and support you as you chase your dreams. It's important to remember that you're not necessarily closing the door to an old relationship forever. Sometimes, people might come back into your life when the time is right, but at any given moment, it is okay to let go if you need to. You can honor the past while still moving forward with your life. When you let go, you also create room for new experiences that will push you further. You might find yourself joining a new community, picking up a new hobby, or traveling somewhere you never thought possible. It's not just the people you leave behind, but the version of yourself that's tethered to those past identities. As you grow, you see that there's a world full of opportunity out there, and letting go is the first step towards that adventure. Whether it's a friendship that's failing or a relationship that no longer feels right, having that breakup talk can be awkward, uncomfortable, and honestly, a little bit heartbreaking. It is important to approach these conversations with care. Sometimes, it's just a matter of distance. You might not need a formal conversation. It could just be a matter of not spending as much time together, not initiating plans, and allowing their relationship to naturally fade out. But other times, you might need to have a direct conversation, especially if there are expectations involved, or if the person involved has noticed the change in dynamics. Be clear about your needs, but also give the other person the space to feel their feelings. These conversations don't need to be filled with blame or judgment. They're simply a part of the natural process of moving on and creating space for what's next. When you let go of what no longer serves you, it's not just about cutting people off, it's about embracing the freedom to become who you were always meant to be. This freedom is a gift. It might make you feel like you're walking into the unknown. It can be a little scary, and at times, You might even feel a little lost. But the freedom that comes with stepping away from relationships that no longer align with your growth gives you the opportunity to create a life that is truly yours. You no longer have to conform to expectations of others. You can focus on your personal dreams, your ambitions, and your happiness without the weight of keeping people in your life who are no longer a fit. This is a point where growth starts to feel liberating. You'll be able to take more risks, explore new aspects of yourself, and form relationships that feel like an authentic extension of who you are. This new space, mentally, emotionally, and physically, will help you embrace your fullest potential. Growing is uncomfortable, but it's also deeply rewarding. It means embracing change, letting go of the past, and sometimes leaving people behind. It's not about being selfish. It is about being true to yourself. It's important to honor your own journey, even if it means you'll no longer be walking side by side with some of the people that you were once closest to. Growth is about stepping into your highest potential, and you can't do that if you're holding on to relationships that are holding you back. You're not alone, and every step you take forward is a step closer to the person that you're meant to be. Keep growing, keep evolving, and keep creating the life that is uniquely yours. With love, Mafe. Besties, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share with anyone that might need to listen. Don't forget that we have a membership where as soon as you sign up, you will receive an I Missed Me hoodie. Plus, you have access to an exclusive episode every single month, printable activities, meditations, monthly challenges, PDF guides, and behind the scenes content. Don't forget to follow I Missed Me on social media, I Missed Me Podcast on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe to I Missed Me's YouTube channel, I Missed Me Podcast. I will see you guys on our next episode.